Russia and Ukraine agree to continue ceasefire talks. Russian and Ukrainian negotiators agreed that a permanent ceasefire in eastern Ukraine must be observed unconditionally following hours-long talks in Paris on Wednesday. The announcement came after a meeting at the Élysée Palace of the so-called Normandy format, a four-way conversation between representatives from Ukraine, Russia, Germany and France, that has been trying to broker peace in eastern Ukraine since 2014. Tensions between Moscow and Kiev are at their highest in years, with a large Russian troop buildup near the shared borders of the two former Soviet republics, spurring fears that Russia could launch an invasion. Speaking after Wednesday's meeting, Moscow's chief negotiator Dmitry Kozak said the ceasefire must be observed unconditionally but that many other issues in eastern Ukraine remained unresolved. Western officials are continuing to push for a diplomatic solution to the tensions through the full implementation of the Minsk agreements, a ceasefire protocol signed by Ukraine and Russia in 2015. We agreed that regardless of different discrepancies of the Minsk agreements that exist between Ukraine and the Donetsk and Luhansk regions, the truce in Donbass must be observed unconditionally, Kozak said. He added that the obligation to implement such agreements lies with the armed forces of Ukraine and the armed formations of the Eastern Separatists, Donetsk People's Republic and Luhansk People's Republic. Ukrainian negotiator Andriy Yermak said all parties were in support of a permanent ceasefire and Ukraine was ready to negotiate around the clock to prevent war and to de-escalate tensions around the border. Yermak called the renewal of the Normandy format talks, first held after Russia's 2014 invasion of Crimea, a very positive signal and the first such substantive agreement since the end of 2019. He called talks really substantial, but not an easy discussion, and while there were still disagreements there was an interest in working through them. The work continues and I can tell you that Ukraine as usual is ready to negotiate, to meet 24/7. Because for us, for Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, for the entire team, the goal of stopping the war, of ending the war and returning our territories, and today that this also includes easing the tensions, the de-escalation around the Ukrainian border, is the priority, Yermak said. Kozak and Yermak said the talks would resume in about 2 weeks in Berlin. As many as 100,000 Russian troops have remained amassed at the Ukrainian border, despite warnings from US President Joe Biden and European leaders of serious consequences should Russian President Vladimir Putin order an invasion. Russia has repeatedly denied it is planning an invasion but has argued that NATO support for Ukraine, including increased weapons supplies and military training, constitutes a growing threat on its western flank. As the Normandy format got underway on Wednesday, the United States delivered a written response to Russia's concerns over Ukraine. Putin's central demand is that the US and NATO commit to never admitting Ukraine to the 30-member defense alliance. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken declined to detail specifics presented to Moscow but said it reiterated the West's public response to uphold NATO's open-door policy. There is no change. There will be no change, Blinken said of U.S. and NATO support of the alliance's open-door policy. We make clear that there are core principles that we are committed to uphold and defend, including Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity, and the right of states to choose their own security arrangements and alliances, he added. Blinken said the U.S. response to Russia sets out a serious diplomatic path forward should Russia choose it and outlines areas where the U.S. has said it sees potential for progress with Russia: arms control, transparency and stability. If you liked our video, click like and subscribe to our channel, follow the War News on our channel.